Let's go, girls. Come on.
From New York City to Los Angeles, Powered Up with Beck and Franklin is giving women of all ages permission to live the life they've always dreamed of. Why live in black and white when you can choose the brilliance of 3D and Technicolor? Each week, Sandra, Beck, and Linda Franklin and their high-powered guests will be here to cheer you on, to share their challenges, their successes, and what they've learned along the way. It's all about women supporting women. The stories and practical tips on sex, beauty, money, and so much more are designed to help you reconnect to the powerful woman you are. Fabulous knows no limits. Now it's time for you to expand your boundaries. Here are Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin.
Hey ladies, this is Sandra Beck and I'm here with Linda Franklin and this is Powered Up Talk Radio, and from coast to coast, from New York to Los Angeles, we've got you covered. And today is another part of our Soul Search Tuesdays. And Linda, I got to tell you, I've been doing Joseph Gallagher's CDs. I'm still having astounding results. I can't even tell you how excited I am that, 2 little meditation CDs would make such a big difference.
Well, I have been trying and using them since, I guess, Saturday. I didn't do it today because I've been running around like crazy, but hopefully this evening I will. And it certainly does relax me, but that's it. I mean, well, I don't know what I'm looking for, but not that anything bad has happened. All nice things, but nothing that my jaw dropped open. And I said, "Oh my God, what? How did this happen?"
Well, I think, I'm probably, you're probably already balanced in your right and your left brain, and I needed that rebalancing. And I had very, very specific imagery goals that, as part of the preparation work that I did, I was very specific about the amount of money I wanted to earn in 10 days, which was $10,000 in 10 days. And at the rate I'm going, I will hit that tomorrow. So, that to me was a big deal. And the other thing I did, Linda, was I made this little manifestation bowl because I'm not really good at visual imagery. So I took an old fish bowl and I glued some stickers on it. And then I wrote all over it like wonderful words like thankfulness, gratitude, money, health. And then I threw some stuff in the bowl. I threw a watch. I threw 2 little pictures of my kids. I threw some fake gold coins that I think were left over last year from the holidays, and a couple other things. I threw some blue rocks in for health, and I really, really made a concerted effort to meditate on this bowl and do these audio recordings. And I'm seeing results, but then again, I'm the person that in the audience that they'll hypnotize, and I'll jump around and cluck like a chicken.
Yes, you're very open to that. And it's not that I'm not. I wasn't as specific as you were. I was trying not to think because that's one of my biggest problems is too much thinking. So I tried when he kind of talks you through the audio tape. I'm just relaxing and listening without trying to think because I just want to relax. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah, because we're at different places in our life. We have different goals and different, different visions. And I was all type A, I'm going to make a list of what I want. Because my biggest fear, and you'll get a kick out of this, is I kept looking and going abundance CD. I'm like, oh my God, I'm already eating too much. I'm overabundant in my nutrition. I need to control where the abundance is going to come in from. And, I had a lot of fun with it. But I wrote down, the things that I really, really wanted to focus on. And when he does the color waterfall, I was very specific that my orange was for happiness, my red was for love, and my blue was for spirituality and healing, and the purple was for power, and the green was for money. And I was really, really specific. And I'm never specific. Usually I'm all start the meditation CD and fall asleep.
Well, the more specific you are, the better it is because you want to be very careful about what you say because and again, the more specific you are, the better, because it can be interpreted in a lot of different ways by the universe.
Absolutely.
And I assume that's where it's coming from. So, but I guess I had some thoughts, but I just kind of let them filter through without being too focused on the thoughts, because that's not where I wanted to be. But it was very relaxing, and I will continue to do it because it certainly, if nothing else, does make your body very, very calm, and it distresses you, which I think is a very good thing.
Well, it is. It does. And, maybe that's one of the secrets that I'm experiencing. Like, I used to do my meditation CDs, pretty much solely at the end of the day when all my work was done and the kids were in bed, and, which is probably why I fell asleep. And one of the things that he did say was, to try to do these in the morning. And it's interesting because when I get up in the morning, I get up, about 5:30, 6 o'clock, about an hour before my kids get up. And, I'm shot out of a cannon once they wake up. And Linda, I was really working hard not to go to the, oh my God, we've got court in another 3 weeks. Oh my God, we've got these things. And I could feel that heaviness come in. And then I'm like, whoop, going to whip on my, my CD player, put my headphones on, completely changed my state of being. So I think that's.
But isn't that crazy, Sam, how you get those thoughts when you first wake up in the morning? More so than any other part of the day. Not before I go to sleep, because I'm tired and I go to sleep, and not during the day when I'm, out doing things and active. It's that first thing in the morning. It's, oh my God, I got to do this, and this. And so, that's a perfect time to do it, to find a new routine that's constructive and not destructive.
Right, and it helps me make an effortless change in my state. I remember that thing that was in The Secret, that, the video where the guy stubs his toe and then his whole day goes wrong. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's me. And so I recognized that scene from The Secret, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to really try this thing where it's going to set off my day right. And I don't have the discipline or the whatever it takes to come up with my own meditation early in the morning. My mind races. I can't do anything, but I can slap on my headphones and listen to the meditation and then get up and go about my day. To me, that's effortless. I got to set the clock a little bit earlier, but I actually look forward to it because it puts me in a really good state of mind. And as a result, I'm super productive and super positive, and my creativity level's gone through the roof.
Well, that's what meditation does for you, and it doesn't matter what kind of meditation you do, because I was so ingrained and schooled in transcendental meditation, where you just sit there with your mantra, and there's no guide, there's no music, there's no guidance, it's just you and your mantra, and sometimes it's very hard to stay in that place because your thoughts are running wild, but this is, because it is a guided meditation, and you do have sounds, and you do have his voice, and you can picture a lot of things that are happening, it relaxes you without your mind going crazy.
Right, I don't have to do anything. And there's stuff, like when he has the waterfall sound, or the binaural beats, or whatever you call that, and the white noise, or whatever he put all together in there in his little wizardry and electronics, it keeps my mind from racing. It keeps my mind busy. Yes. Doing nothing, which sounds really funny.
Is wonderful, and that's why you're seeing so much better productivity during the day, because your whole body and your mind are relaxed, and it leaves it open for new things rather than having the same old recording, re-recording all day with your, with the crazy, and it sort of cleans it out. It's like a vacuum cleaner. It sort of sucks it out to leave room for new things.
Well, it does, and it's funny you say the vacuum cleaner, because I was thinking it was like Windex for my brain. Like, my brain is like this huge whiteboard, and I keep scribbling on it, and I felt like when I put my headphones on and I put the music on, and then it, and it's only 20 minutes. It's not like it's, taking hours out of your day, and you don't have to drive anywhere, do anything, just plug your head in.
That's
and I
right.
feel like it's Windexing, like all those whiteboards in my brain.
Well,
but what's funny is I'm more creative than ever.
Well, that's wonderful. And now I have to start using it first thing in the morning, too, because I'm like you, and I'm up 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. But what do? When the thoughts start to come, I turn on the television set. Oh, what's the weather going to be like today, and what this? And lately, you know who Joyce Myers is? She's
Sure.
like, well, I've been listening to Joyce Meyer at 6 o'clock in the morning, listening to her preach because she's funny and I like her. So I've been listening to her. You know, that's about religion. I'm not religious, but some of the things she says, I certainly can relate to, and you know, she's very entertaining, and I love to be entertained.
Yeah, she's very.
But I may have to turn off Joyce and turn on Dr. Wallenberger or Gallenberger.
Gallenberger. Yeah, well, because I just think
right.
that it sets me in the right frame of mind for productivity during the day. And, you know, and because I accomplish so much more during the day, I feel like I can truly just enjoy my kids when they get home, or enjoy dinner, or tonight I've got to go down and take a class in the Valley. So I'm going to really actually enjoy my drive down there because my work is fairly done for the day and money is coming in droves. So I feel like I can breathe.
Right. Well, I don't like to put a dollar amount of how much I really want to make, because I was told by somebody very, very smart, you never put a dollar amount on it because it sort of puts a ceiling on it, and you want to leave it as open as you can, because what you think you want to be making now could double, triple, quadruple, and $1,000, if that's a word. So, you know, you just want to say, I'm just open for it to keep coming in without putting a specific amount on it, because that you may get the specific amount and it stops.
Okay, well then I will change my meditation, because that's the beautiful thing about these things.
I want it to keep coming. I want to see abundance, but, you know, no dollar amount. Just let it keep coming. I'm ready to receive.
Okay, I'm ready to receive too, because I got a broken oven, I got some bills to pay, and I need a new car. So when we come back from the break, we are going to visit with Lacy Crawford, and she wrote a really cute coming-of-age book. And actually, it's a good book. I thought it was very interesting, about the frightful world of high school SATs and the college essay. And it's written by a lady who's 27, single, and in demand. This Anne Arlington, and she's the college whisperer. So I got a real kick out of it. That's why I wanted to bring it on and share it with our listeners. When we come back from the break, we're going to welcome Lacy Crawford, the author of Early Decision. More after the break.
We've got lots more Powered Up with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin after these messages.
This is Uncommon Sense for Leaders, a forum for exploring leadership from the intellect, the heart, and the spirit. Whether you're a leader now or aspire to be a leader in the future, you owe it to yourself to learn about the big ideas that have shaped the careers of compelling communicators, masters of influence, and highly effective leaders. Uncommon Sense for Leaders. Tune in to hear thought-provoking ideas on every aspect of leadership. You can expect dynamic discussions with special guests, quick tips you can apply immediately for better results, and the tools you need to take you from where you are to where you want to be as a leader. Are you ready to crack the code for achieving unprecedented results? Then join the host for Uncommon Sense for Leaders, Catherine Carlisi, every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the All Business Radio Network. Are you fascinated by the stories behind the stories, the people behind their masks, the truth about people's failures and redemptions in both their business and personal lives? Then Off the Record Secrets of with host Judy Schreiner is for you. It's people's secrets that make them interesting, but very few folks are willing to reveal them unless they trust that their information will be treated with accuracy, fairness, and respect. People have been entrusting their secrets to longtime business journalist Judy Schreiner for the last 25 years, and now she's bringing her expertise and impressive contact list. Tune in and call in as host Judy Schreiner talks to guests off the record as they reveal new secrets each Tuesday at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central.
We're back with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin. Here's more Powered Up with Beck and Franklin.
Hey ladies, this is Sandra Beck and I'm here with Linda Franklin, and we are welcoming to the airwaves Lacy Crawford. Now she's written this great book called Early Decision, and I like the way it's advertised. It's part Gossip Girl and part Dead Poet Society. I'm big fans of both of them, so of course I couldn't wait to read this. But what's more interesting about this book than anything else, and I'm going to let Lacy tell us a little bit about this, is that her book is about, kind of the frightful world of high school SATs, the college education, the essay and the common application. But she was, as a college admissions counselor, an independent one for very, very powerful clients in New York City, Chicago, Denver, Los Angeles, and London. So it's really neat for me when books come out of somebody's own personal experience, and yet they're fun and witty and entertaining, and I really hope they make this into a movie or a TV show. Lacy Crawford, your characters are a lot of fun. Welcome to the show. So I have to ask you, Powered Up Talk Radio is for women, 40s, 50s, 60s. A lot of them are second career, chance at life. You had a very, very good career in what you were doing that actually unfolded as part of this book, from what I can tell. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
I graduated from college knowing that I wanted to write. It's really the only thing that I've ever wanted to do, but I needed, like everyone else, to figure out how to make a living. And one of the things that I tried my hand at was teaching high school English, because I had loved school so much myself. And I wasn't very good with entire classrooms full of kids, but I had a really great time working with particularly high school seniors on their writing. And one of the pieces of writing that hit them every year was the college essay, which is a really remarkable assignment because it's this single essay that they perceive to be the key to their entire future, but it's a form that nobody's taught them in school before. I mean, they've been taught to write history papers and book reports and lab reports, but no one's ever taught them how to sit down and write 650 words about themselves as scholars, as people, as thinkers, and then we ask them to do it at precisely the moment when we say their entire future hinges on it. It's a pretty stressful thing, and not something that I think many people are prepared for. And if you think about it, knowing how to write about yourself that way, think about yourself that way, is crucial for putting together a career after school, whether you go to college or not. The way you talk about yourself in interviews and cover letters all through your life, that's an important skill to have. So I started working with young people. It was 1996, 97 when I first started working with young people. And this was really before the college admissions process became the frenzy that it has become today, before there was a whole industry of people out there who were helping kids with their applications and, the kind of super tutors and the whole thing. There's a woman in New York City who charges $50,000 for a kid. One in San Francisco at $65,000, I think, to help a young person. It's really remarkable. So over the course of the next about 15 years, while I did a bunch of other things in the balance of my time, I went to graduate school, left before getting my PhD. That wasn't right for me, tried a bunch of other things. I was always working with young people. I'm going to say on the side, because it wasn't my 9-to-5 job, but it was really a sustaining vocation for me for a long, long time. And by the time I had come to the end of that 15-year period, I actually had a pretty significant corporate position running a big company's nonprofit, their charity, and I was writing, and I had my own first child, and that gave me some new perspective on all the students and the parents I had worked with. And I thought, gosh, maybe there's a story in this. And I started writing it when my first baby was brand new, and I was up in the middle of the night and freaked out at what had happened to my life now that I had a newborn. And I wrote it really to sort of entertain myself and try to figure out what I thought about everything. And it sort of came together into a novel, and that became Early Decision.
Hi, Lacy. This is Linda. This is an interesting story. And since you've been working with young people for a period of years, and in this show we're particularly interested in women, are you seeing a difference in young women today versus maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago, what they want, how they're how they perceive themselves, how they think of the world, and I could go on and on and on, but I just want to see if you noticed any difference.
So for me, I come from a fairly socially conservative family and background and community. That was the way I was raised. And when I was growing up, I will say that while my parents always encouraged every tiny little inkling I had to do anything, sure, you can be a nuclear physicist, sure, you can do whatever, it was pretty much understood that what was important for a young woman was who she chose to marry, and that she was able to put that together, the right courtship, the right pairing. That sounds so old-fashioned, but really growing up in the 1970s and 1980s in the Midwest, that was very clear to me. And a lot of the students that I first encountered when I was first doing this work came from families that were thrilled to have them go to good colleges. That was really lovely, but they weren't doing it as a prelude to a lifelong career. They weren't doing it because they worried that those girls needed to earn a living for the rest of their lives. They were doing it because they thought it would put them into contact with the sort of men they wanted them to marry, if that makes sense.
Right. And over the last, to call it the MRS degree.
Well, exactly. You go to get your MRS, precisely. And over the last 15 years, that has been inverted on its head. I mean, really, in my experience, these girls are, they're going to run the world, and they don't think about who, if they are, they're not telling me about it. It's not about who they're going to marry. They're not mooning over boyfriends. They're stressed out about, what it's going to be like to be the first female programmer at some new company. I mean, it really is remarkable. I think they perceive very clearly where some of the gender limitations may still be, and they are gung-ho to take them down. That has been my sense. And, of course, there are more women than men now going to four-year colleges in this country, so much so that it's starting to get easier for young men than young women to gain admission to some of these schools because of the ratios. So many girls have decided, I'm going to save, to take their future into their own hands. They're not waiting for a man, to bring home the paycheck, that things are really changing.
Well, and I just want to, can I just buzz in right here and say, I'm really proud of you because, you went to Princeton, University of Chicago. I went to Northwestern, and there was a whole segment of the population, a very small one at Northwestern, that was there to meet good husbands. But the byproduct of going to school and getting this fabulous education was that when I did get divorced and my husband did leave me, I could knock it out of the park and continue my lifestyle and continue things on forward. So I really applaud the young women today for breaking through the glass ceilings and to really understand that your future is your own. You don't have to marry your future anymore. I just want that to go out there because I just think that's really important.
Well, isn't that right? Someone reflected, I wish I could remember who it was because it struck me as so telling, but, the New York Times, if anyone reads it, comes across they have the Sunday wedding section, and they're reporting where these young people are from. And it used to be so much emphasis on who a girl's parents were, and where she'd gone to school, and now it's where she's gone to school. Do you see? So it used to be a kind of a pedigree thing, and now it's, where she's been educated. So I think there is a shift in how we perceive young people that is across both sexes, really. And it's, what are you going after? What is it that you want to become? And that's a wonderful thing.
Well, I guess we have to give some credit to the parents because maybe they're making a shift, too, because when a young girl especially goes away to college, either she's going to be very secure or very insecure. And if she's secure, she's going to nail it. If she's insecure, she's going to fall to the pressures of the school, of the boys, of the sororities, of all those things. No one sent me a copy of your book, but I want to read it now because when you read that 1 out of 5 young women entering college is going to somehow be sexually abused, raped, whatever. I mean, that is shocking.
Yeah, this is something that I've not had the opportunity to talk about so much around the book because everyone is always interested in how to get in. How do I get my kids in? How do I get my kids in?
Yeah.
And that comes at the expense of what sort of person am I delivering to that campus, right? I mean, how have I raised my young person so that when she lands, she is intrinsically motivated. She believes in herself, and she is not going to be swayed by ex-fraternity football player, sorority, you name it, that sort of thing. And I do think that increasing academic pressures on getting into college can in some ways make those other pressures even more difficult, because you get into a wonderful school like that and you assume that you've cleared the bar and it's all clear sailing from here on in, and not so. I mean, I was at Princeton in the mid-'90s. There's a point in the book that I make. I had the feeling that Princeton was still very much a man's college that was gracious enough to allow women to attend there. It was very clearly, in my mind, a man's school, and I loved it. I was very happy there. I had extraordinary male and female friends who have gone on to build really wonderful lives. But if we think about a school like Vassar, which I think most people would consider to be a women's college, it's been co-ed longer than Harvard has. But nobody thinks of Harvard, as a single-sex school, right? So there is this kind of legacy, I think, that the great educational institutions were originally for men, which they were, and it is difficult, I think, in some ways for women to make that their own. And I would say that the fraternity systems and the huge sports complexes, which are sort of these big industrial complexes on campus, they make it difficult when you've got, boys on the field and girls in cheerleading costumes. We're perpetuating some pretty tough stereotypes.
Yeah. And then we have the financial component of what it costs to go to school. And if you don't have really wealthy parents and you're not in on the scholarship, just the financial pressures are tremendous. I mean, that's a big thing that's hopefully going to be dealt with because, the student loan situation is horrendous.
They are, and they are. Those loans are crippling and continue to be crippling. I think one thing that is an unsung solution in some places in this country is the system of community college, really wonderful community colleges which feed into, quite naturally, state universities all over the country. We have the best public education in the world.
You guys, I got to cut you off. We're going to commercial break. We're going to bring Lacy Crawford back after the break. Her book is Early Decision. You're going to want to hear more from this outstanding writer and this amazing woman. We're going to visit with her for a few more minutes after the break, and then we're going to bring on Patti Conklin, who wrote the book God Within, and she is part of our metaphysical program that we're doing, Soul Search Tuesdays. When we come back from the break, we're going to visit a few more minutes with Early Decision author Lacy Crawford. You can find her at lacycrawford.com.
We've got lots more Powered Up with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin after these messages.
This is for all you girls about 42. Tossing pennies into the fountain of youth.
Secret Cuisines and Sacred Rituals is a quest, a place, and a feast. Join host Lacy Venkatachalam every week to explore myths, mystique, old medicine, and brilliant modern solutions through a dazzling kaleidoscope of cuisines, cultures, and cures. This is the place where tribes gather, strangers and familiars, to be memory keepers and makers of our evolving, enduring, evergreen, spoken legacy of wisdom and ingenuity. In Lacy's words, when we do old things in new ways and new things in old ways, we paint with an inspired palette, weave our own healing traditions, and become our own guru. Lacy is a troubadour of secret cuisines and sacred rituals. She collects stories of wisdom, ingenuity, and grit. She believes wellness and transformation happen when you stand at the threshold of delight and discovery. She displays her hidden penchant for drama when she leads the Safari at the Supper Club. Her favorite pastime is to extol the marvels of cuisines, cultures, and cures. To her audience in workplaces, seminars, and salons, her mantra is, be your own guru. She is a biochemist, botanist, and alchemist who likes to churn delightful, useful things from a brew of art and science, ancient and evolving, old medicine, and new cures. Join Lacy every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, only here on the Woohoo Radio Network. Are you looking for something more in your life or business? More success, more stability, more happiness? It's all out there waiting for you, but it doesn't just happen. You've got to go get it. Make it happen with Michelle McCullough, where motivation and strategy intersect. Michelle is a serial entrepreneur, acclaimed speaker, and the Woohoo Radio Network's resident business and success strategist. Michelle has the smarts, strategies, and experience to help you improve your life and take your business to the next level. You've got big dreams. You've got big vision. Now it's time for you to make it happen.
We're back with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin. Here's some more Powered Up with Beck and Franklin.
This is for all you.
Hey ladies, this is Sandra Beck and I'm here with Linda Franklin and this is Powered Up Talk Radio. And our guest today is Lacy Crawford. She wrote a book about early decision, which is it's a really good, fun, interesting, enjoyable read about the application season and 5 different students that she follows. And Lacy Crawford herself was a discreet independent college admissions counselor to some very powerful clients. So I want to hear from her to hear a little bit more about her viewpoint on community colleges. And then we're going to go ahead and welcome to the airwaves Patti Conklin. So go ahead. I'd like to hear, Lacy, what you have to say about community colleges for our parents that are listening today.
Thank you. Just finishing up the point that so much ink is spilled about the Ivy League and Harvard and big state schools and where someone's dad went. And the truth is these community colleges that we have all around us in our local communities are have great connections to the state university systems and love to take students in after their first or second years. It can be a really wonderful way to get a foot in the door to higher education that's less expensive and maybe doesn't come with all the hurdles of getting in, right after your senior year. So that's a big secret that I think all parents should know about.
Well, and Lacy, I want to thank you for being our guest today, and I want to second that for, one of my brothers is a NASA rocket scientist today, but he was not ready to go to a full college at 17, 18 years old, and he was by the time he was 20, 21 and got some of those core requirements under his belt and has gone on to have a very, very successful career. So I want to thank you for your advice today. I want to thank you for writing the book Early Decision. People can find you at lacycrawford.com, just like it sounds, LacyCrawford.com. We'll have to have you back. We can't wait for your next book to come out.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we're going to shift gears a little bit, and we are going to get a little bit more on track with our Soul Search Tuesdays. We talked a little bit about education with Lacy Crawford, and I want to bring on Patti Conklin. Now, she is a really neat lady. She is a medical intuitive, and I can't wait to talk to her, Linda, a little bit about what that means and how that translates. And she wrote this new book called God Within, The Day God's Train Stopped. And it's my kind of book because it's easy to read, it's easy to follow, it's not too thick, and I can read it in the bathtub and get a lot out of it. And she puts even the spacing down in the book so I can use my little highlighter. Because some of these spiritual books, Linda, are really thick and they're really hard to read. But I'm always excited when books come through that I can read and understand and take something away with it without having a thesaurus and a dictionary and Google handy.
Yes, I agree 100%, because if you do have to have all of the Google and the thesaurus and the dictionary, you're going to miss the whole point of the book. When you read these books, it's not a brain feed, it's a heart feed. So it has to be presented that way, and I think it's very important for authors that are in that genre to do exactly that.
It's really important. Anybody who's out there, our spiritualists that are listening, our spiritual writers or religious writers or faith writers, whatever they are, can I just say, get to the point, tell it to me so I can understand it. I don't care how smart you are. I care to learn what you know and what you're trying to teach. So always keep that in mind when you write these books, that somebody like me who's not the brightest bulb in the chandelier is going to read them. And I thought Patti Conklin did a great job on this. Patti, are you on the line with us?
I am. Thank you so much.
That's probably one of the worst testimonials you heard. She's written it for not the brightest bulb in the chandelier, but you know what? It does turn on a light. It did light up my world, and I'm so excited to have you on the show with us today. And I've got to ask question number one that we've heard from our social media community, specifically Facebook. They want to know what a medical intuitive is, does, tastes like, looks like, because you're touted as one of the greatest.
Thank you. Well, we use the label medical intuitive. For me specifically, I literally see particles, more like quantum physics. When you're watching the television and the television goes out or the cable goes out and you get snow, that's kind of my world. And so when I'm working with someone, as soon as they begin to speak, their particles readjust and kind of show me a movie or show me words and make it really easy. So a medical intuitive, in my opinion, is someone who can look intuitively into the body and not necessarily create a diagnosis, because I'm not sure that that's all that necessary. I think for me, it's really finding out what the emotion is behind the medical issue or the emotional issue that's taking place, and helping them really come to terms and understand what emotionally helped assist them get to a disease or illness.
Oh, good, because you're not going to look at me and go, oh, God, she's getting cancer. That was my biggest fear for bringing you on the show today. She's a medical intuitive. She's going to diagnose me with something, and I won't be able to sleep tonight. So, Linda, you have a question.
Yeah, I have a question. I'd like to know what is the difference between a medical intuitive and someone who is a Reiki master or someone that does, touch healing?
Touch healing. I think there's a very distinctive difference. For me, as a medical intuitive, I work within the subtle energy field, which is in science called the immune system. And so it's literally looking at the emotions within the cellular structure itself. Reiki, therapeutic touch, essential oils, crystals, and so forth work on the chakra system, which is external, outside the body. So my work is specifically inside the cell itself.
Well, can you just give us a little insight on how you do that?
How I do that? I was born, and I didn't realize I was weird until I was in my late 20s, and we got me tested, and we found that I had a genius IQ, but my brainwave was almost 250% faster than an average person. And so for me, it's literally seeing the world as an MRI, and
wow.
And looking at, a disease process. Energy is energy until it's not. So a disease process is going to have a different frequency than the rest of your body. And it's really kind of tuning in on that and looking at what the body's having to say about it.
Can you turn that off, or when you're out at a party, do you get this information all the time that drives you crazy, or do you have the ability to turn it off so that you can say, no, not now?
I don't have the ability to turn it off. And people get kind of freaked out because they're like, no, I don't want her looking at me. And I have to kind of chuckle because it's like, I've got billions of particles of information coming in every second. And it's like, it's too exhausting. It's too exhausting to look at everyone. But if I'm somewhere where there's really high frequency, like a lot of people, or the first time I went to Ireland to speak in Ireland, I had to call my son, one of my sons, and have him fly out because the frequency of the stones were so high. I was blind. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see if there were stairs or if I was walking off the cliff or, walking out into the center of the street. I just had no clue. So when frequency is really high, I'll have to have an assistant with me if there's lots of people to just help guide me by the hand and tell me when there's stairs or if there's a curb and so forth.
Women love stories. Can you relate, like, a story? I know you must have a million stories, but one story of how this actually, what you actually did for someone and how it changed their lives?
I think, one woman really stands out in my mind, and she was 38, and she had stage 4 breast cancer. And they had been treating her for a year or so and had gone into bone cancer and uterine cancer. And she had a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old. And she had called actually the weekend of my 40th birthday and wanted me to fly out to California and work with her. And I'm like, no, I'm going to have a birthday. And God just very quietly said, you'll go work with her. And she had us at a monastery. And for bone cancer, for me, when I'm working with someone, that literally goes into my bones. And I'm always on have to go into the hospital on a morphine drip. And so the nuns very kindly took me in, and the doctor, there's always an angel doctor there, and he got it, and he got me on a drip. And the next morning I went in, and we finished things up. And the next week she went into the doctors for her weekly X-rays of her spine and bones and breast cancer. And the doctor said to her, we're just going to have to run the films again. And she said, why? And he said, the films are bad. And she said, what do you mean? And he said, they're empty. There's nothing there. And her body had completely shifted frequency just in the 2 days that we had spent together.
I've seen it on television, and where sometimes maybe it is someone that has your gifts actually gets into bed with somebody and just holds them really close, and then the disease or whatever they have transfers in. It actually goes into your body, and it's like, wow, it's fascinating, and it's just, oh my gosh, so it really plays havoc with you.
Science really loves it because it's happened throughout history, but we're in a technological age now where, I'll process someone for 48 hours and my doctors check my blood every 6 months. So, if I personally get sick, they're like, okay, who have you worked on, what diseases, so we can rule out all of their symptomology. But they'll check my blood, and they can actually take my vomit when I'm processing someone and tell what kind of chemo that my client's on. So for science, it has given them a huge boost in understanding energy and how it transmutes and how our bodies are really made up. For me, I always say there's a curse with every blessing, and you take the good with the bad, and that's not one of my favorite processes, but it's fascinating.
Wow. I'm thinking how do you sit on a plane? How do you go to the mall? You should be sucking up energies, everywhere you go. I mean, do you have to wear a hazmat suit? I can't wait to hear more about how you go out throughout your life. And you put the word shit in your book, which really, really made me laugh right out loud. So we're going to have to talk about that when we get back from the break. We're visiting with Patti Conklin. She wrote a great book called God Within, The Day God's Train Stopped. You're going to enjoy it a whole lot. You're going to be able to understand it. You can check her out on her website, PattiConklin.com. P-A-T-T, that's with an I-C-O-N-K-L-I-N.com. More with Patti after the break in her hazmat suit.
We've got lots more Powered Up with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin after these messages.
Are you looking for something more in your life or business? More success, more stability, more happiness? It's all out there waiting for you, but it doesn't just happen. You've got to go get it. Make it happen with Michelle McCullough, where motivation and strategy intersect. Michelle is a serial entrepreneur, acclaimed speaker, and the Woohoo Radio Network's resident business and success strategist. Michelle has the smarts, strategies, and experience to help you improve your life and take your business to the next level. You've got big dreams. You've got big vision. Now it's time for you to make it happen. Secret Cuisines and Sacred Rituals is a quest, a place, and a feast. Join host Lacy Venkatachalam every week to explore myths, mystique, old medicine, and brilliant modern solutions through a dazzling kaleidoscope of cuisines, cultures, and cures. This is the place where tribes gather, strangers and familiars, to be memory keepers and makers of our evolving, enduring, evergreen, spoken legacy of wisdom and ingenuity. In Veloci's words, when we do old things in new ways and new things in old ways, we paint with an inspired palette, weave our own healing traditions, and become our own guru. Veloci is a troubadour of secret cuisines and sacred rituals. She collects stories of wisdom, ingenuity, and grit. She believes wellness and transformation happen when you stand at the threshold of delight and discovery. She displays her hidden penchant for drama when she leads the safari at the supper club. Her favorite pastime is to extol the marvels of cuisines, cultures, and cures. To her audience in workplaces, seminars, and salons, her mantra is, be your own guru. She is a biochemist, botanist, and alchemist who likes to churn delightful, useful things from a brew of art and science, ancient and evolving, old medicine and new cures. Join Veloci every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, only here on the Woohoo Radio Network.
We're back with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin. Here's more Powered Up with Beck and Franklin.
Hey, ladies, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Linda Franklin, and we're just having a bang-up time with Patti Conklin. She is a medical intuitive, a vibrational mediator, but I'm here to tell you she's a whole bucket of fun, and you should read her book because it's entertaining. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you cry. There's a story in there with a little boy named Bradley that resonated so truthful with some of the things I've experienced in my life. I think you'll get a kick out of it. I think you'll enjoy the little bits and pieces that she brings in so many different things. Now, you wrote this 16 years ago. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
Yet it reads like you wrote it today. So a lot of this information and a lot of these experiences, a lot of these things are just super timeless. I don't even know how to explain it. You can just pick up this book and treat it like an oracle, which is what I did at first. I'm like, ooh, what's Patti have to tell me today? But you know, it does
I'm hearing
work.
that people are doing that. I added some stories. But the content editing, I've got to give kudos to my oldest son, Dan, because I wrote the book 16 years ago, but he edited it. And he would call me and he'd say, Mom, what the heck are you saying in this chapter? And I'm like, Dan, it makes perfect sense, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, no, it doesn't. I'm calling Matt, his brother, who's been executive director forever for the corporation. And he finally helped me understand that I wrote it the way that I lecture, and that, you know, I had voice inflections and body language when I was on stage, and that it didn't equate into the written word. And so he actually wrote it into content and did an amazing job.
Okay, so now you have two kids, Matt and Dan. Do you have any more?
I claim 6. 2 are biological, Matt and Dan. And then I have 2 adopted, Russell and Tony, and then I have 2 step, Mike and Vanessa. So 5
okay,
boys.
so I'm just going to send a message out to all your kids going, oh my God, how did you grow up with a mother that can see you like lying down to the cellular level? I think of my kids going, how much stuff they try to put away from me. My older son's 11. He's got a girl that he likes, and his first dance is Thursday night or Friday night, and he's so excited. And I'm thinking, God, you must like have just walked around going, he has a fever. He has, you know, he needs more vitamin B. I mean, how did you do that with your own kids?
We actually had a major reality series come to the boys about 5 years ago and wanted to film a reality show with them, what it was like to grow up with me, because I did sit the biological boys down when they were 3 and 4, and I said, look, this is the bottom line. I can tell when you're lying to me, and so you need to start confessing. It doesn't mean you won't get punished. You're just not going to get punished as severely. So they spent their whole life just walking around, giving me the cross, going, I'm confessing right now. But what it did was it made this incredible connection with us because they knew I would never judge them. They knew that I could see everything, and so therefore it was worthy of talking about. So it didn't matter if it was their dating life or their marriage life or now grandbaby life or whatever. And if they felt like I just couldn't do things, because, you know, I'm limited in some ways. I see things in grayscale, so I'll know something is blue or something is green, but I won't know the shades of it. And, you know, I'd get ready to go out on a date when they were all teenagers, and they just groan when I'd come out of my bedroom. And they're like, seriously? And I'm like, I look awesome. I looked at myself, and they're like, oh, God, who's dressing her now? It just, you know, Matt, you go dress her. I dressed her last night. So I really had to step up to the plate and help out. They're awesome.
That is hilarious, because my little guy picks out my shoes and my handbag, and my older one tells me how my hair and makeup is. And now when you went out on a date, let me just ask you, you're dating with this like crazy intuitive medical, you know, voodoo witch doctor, you know, have a drink and let it all fly out. What did you do on a date when you got this information in?
Well, you know, I work really hard at not judging, and everybody's got their stuff. I was always more concerned about when I get really serious with someone, whether or not they could really take the totality of my life. And there's only been 2 men in my life that I've fallen in love with, and both of them were very honest in saying that they could not. It was just too much. The processing, how much I'm working. If Father tells me tomorrow morning to go to India to go work with someone, then I'm on a flight. It's not a discussion. And so just kind of looking at people and just loving them for who they are and realizing we all have baggage. But it certainly has made it challenging at 57 to find people that want to date and are able to handle that space for me.
Well, you know, men are so insecure anyway. I can't even imagine finding someone that could, you know, that they're so transparent that you can see every little thing that they're thinking and doing. That must have been wild. Are any of your gifts, have your children exhibited any piece of your gifts?
Yeah, Daniel and Matthew are divided between me. Daniel has more of my sight, not the particle sight, but more of a seer. He was pre-verbal. He was speaking full sentences at a year, and he had a 10-year-old comprehension level by the time he was 2. Matthew has my energy capabilities, and Matt can touch anyone, and they'll come out of pain. And both boys are highly supportive of my work, but neither one of them feel drawn to continue my work when I cross, hopefully at 62. So they're a tremendous support system, and they have theirs. And I look at their babies to see what gifts they're bringing on board from me, and it's been awesome seeing that in the little one's eyes. But they really don't have an interest in taking over the business, and maybe that'll change once I'm gone.
But
well, now why did you say 62?
Well, when I was 7 and I had what I considered to be a visitation, I was told that 38 to 42 would be my greatest growth years, and 42 to 62 would be my greatest contribution, and that I could come home then if I so chose. And the purpose of my walk was to teach people to become insubstantial without transitioning. And so I feel like I have choice at 62 as to whether or not to cross over. And the purpose of life, I think, is to teach people how to be out of judgment without having to die to do it. And it may be I was just meant to be washing windows, and God's just sitting up there shaking his head, going, what is she doing down there? I just wanted her to wash a few windows. She didn't need to wash all these bodies. So at this point, I'm still looking forward to transitioning at 62. But you never know when the time comes. We'll see.
See,
but you know what? But you said it's a choice, and I really believe that it's a choice. And if you're ready, or if your soul is ready, then you're going to go. But if it isn't, then you're not.
Right.
So consciously, I don't know if you even have your hand on that control.
I don't know that we do consciously. I think it's a soul choice. I think that I kind of sit back and go, okay, it's been I've always been in service. I started nonprofit work when I was 16, and 100,000 miles a year for 30 years, I'm a little tired, and I laugh and say I want to be a rock on Mars for 1,000,000 years after this lifetime. So my kids have actually named this houseboat Rock on Mars. So they've heard it their entire life. But if I could, and I can certainly slow down, and I have been slowing down, spend more time with the grandbabies. But if I find a really healthy relationship, I think I want to stay and experience that a little bit.
See, and I think it's very interesting you say that, because my mother always had a crossover point, and she did cross over. She did die from breast cancer, and she always told me, like, from when I was little, like, I'm not going to live past, like, 70, 75. She's like, I'm just not going to live past that. And it wasn't some weird, creepy death wish, and her mother died at, like, 65, and she's just very clear with that. And so, it's still traumatic and awful and brutal, when my mother did pass away, but it wasn't unexpected. And she told me that she would just be in the next room, and she's like, now I don't want you to get too upset, and she's like, I'm just going to be in the next room, and she goes, you'll come in the room with me after when it's your time to cross over. But she was very clear, and that's why I jumped all over that, like, why did you say 62? Because my mother always said, it was going to be 70, maybe 75 will be the most. And it was just really strange that came through, came true, and it's not like she wanted to check out. She had grandchildren, she had all these things, but she knew that her time here was what she was supposed to do, and then it was going to be done. So I was very curious to find out, so I didn't mean to jump all over you with the 62.
That's okay. And I think that it's an awesome, I'm an adventure seeker. I love new things. And what I love about having done this work for the last 19 years professionally is that every day I never know what I'm going to get. I never know what client is going to bring what to me. And I treat it like it's brand new. So I love adventure. So for me, the idea of crossing over is this awesome new adventure. And golly, I can't imagine what it's going to be like. I think it's going to be fun.
Well, Patti, I just want to thank you for writing this book. I want to give some information to our listeners on how best they can reach you. Patti Conklin has a great website, you guys. It's just her name.com, PattiConklin.com. She's got lots of cool things. She's got stuff you can shop for. She's got healing sessions you can sign up for. There's live events. There's all sorts of great, cool things on here. Her book is called God Within, The Day God's Train Stopped. You can buy this on Amazon. You can pick it up a lot of different places. It's a really, really great book. I'm going to tell you again, it's easy to read. It's easy to follow. This isn't one of those books that you press flowers with because you can't get through it. It's a really, really good book. Patti, I want to leave our listeners with some of your words of wisdom. What's the most important thing people can take away from your book and from you today?
Most important thing people can take away is pay attention to your words and the emotions that you're putting into it. If you wake up in the morning and your partner asks you how you feel and you say, oh, my back hurts, your body's going to say, oh, I can do that for you. But if you just say, you know what, thank you for asking, in 10 minutes, I'm going to feel wonderful. You're validating yourself without giving the energy to your body, because just remember, your body is recording every single word and emotion you say, and it doesn't know when you don't want something. So please move out of judgment and really watch how you're phrasing and thinking of external. You don't know what someone else's path is, and so therefore you can't judge it.
Thank you, Patti Conklin. Check her out, PattiConklin, PattiConklin.com. You're not going to want to miss her book, God Within, The Day God's Train Stopped.
We're so glad you joined us for Powered Up with Beck and Franklin. Sandra Beck, Los Angeles-based single mother and technology company owner, knows what it's like to be fit, funny, and fantastic in your 40s. Linda Franklin, a New Yorker with a successful marriage and